and we talked a little bit about it last week. I think it's important, and we'll talk a little bit about over the course of the next hour about why we should just maybe wait until the game is played before we automatically count this one as a W, obviously because of what has happened so far this season. But that being said, a win here could go a huge way to telling us what the last 5 games of the season are going to be. Because we talked about how tough those last 5 games of the season are. A win here, a little confidence, 3 straight wins against a few teams that are starting to look a little bit more, I don't want to use the word beatable, but it's the best word we can use, a little bit more beatable. Florida State could be sniffing bowl eligibility. I don't want to get too cocky about it, but it could. It could possibly happen, Logan.
It could. There's a very, very high chance that Florida State can potentially, they'll, of course, this weekend continue that winning streak, as I think we'll all predict. But, Florida State did lose to Jacksonville State, so I think everybody has that in the back of their head, and that's understandable. Norvell commented on it a few times this week after practices, saying that they can't overlook this weekend. I know that he got asked about, how excited he is for the future games like Clemson and Florida and Miami, but he made sure to keep it dialed in and saying we will not be looking over this weekend's opponent, and they will be, stuck on this game plan against UMass, which I think is obviously what you have to say, and I think this team is set on competing against UMass.
Before we talk about this upcoming game, before we talk about recruiting news and whatnot, I have to ask you the most important question. Will you be bringing my free swag to the game this week? I will be there. I will be in the press box waiting for you. You're going to be in charge of watching our camera and microphone when I go down the second half, because I'm going to be there shooting the first half of the game. So you're going to be in charge of watching it. If it gets stolen, that's $60,000 on you. So
dang.
Yeah, our equipment's expensive. So I'm going to need you to take care of it. Okay?
I will take good care of it. You can trust me with that.
Can I?
I'm just going to say yes, you can.
Okay, cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, so I'll help you.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward. It's homecoming. It is homecoming week in Tallahassee. I wanted to vote online. I wanted to vote Logan for homecoming chief, but
my God. Yeah, no, this year, no, just in that credential life now, just don't have a lot of time. Before then, yes, I would have been full. I would have a 3-month campaign going for it and have Facebook ads and IG ads for it. But just because now we're on the credentialed life and at these practices, we're just going to stay away from running for homecoming court this year.
You could have talked about it in the Discord every single friggin' week.
He said it first.
I did.
He said it first.
Because I did it. You just have to accept your fate and move on. So.
You've opened the floodgates, Jason. If we say it 50 times after this, you can't say a word about it.
You are correct. You are 100%
out there.
Correct, Mark. Mark,
okay.
You are 100% correct.
I want to know how excited you guys are about this football team, because if I would have said before the season started, hey, you're going to be 3-4, and I know we can't count this as a victory, but we are going to take that step. They are playing one of the worst teams in FBS football. So let's just take the step briefly that you're going to be 3-4. I don't think either one of you would have been fazed by that. You would have been like, I wish we would be a little bit better than that, considering the UMass game and the Jacksonville State game should have been gimmies. But at 0-4, and now Syracuse, yeah, that's a game Florida State should win at home, better program, etc. But Syracuse is a pretty good football team. They took Wake to overtime. They almost beat Clemson Friday night. They're not a bad team. They've played 3 down-to-the-wire games in the ACC against Florida State, Wake, and Clemson. Pretty good football team at Syracuse. Beat them. North Carolina, 17-point underdog, down 10, come back and win that. And on top of that, you watched your rival go to North Carolina this past weekend and lose that game. So things are pointed in the right direction.
If you want to take it even a step further from that, we've talked about this after they lost to Louisville to drop to 0-4, was they were 3 plays away from winning 3 of those games. I mean, you lost to Notre Dame by a field goal. You lost to Jacksonville State by a field goal. You lost to Louisville by 8 points. Conceivably, you're 3 plays away. this is obviously being an optimistic world. You're 3 plays away from being a 5-1 ball club right now. So it's not as if this is the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Now, one of us may have acted like the sky was falling back at the end of September. I'll say me right now. Are we still out of the problems? No, God no. Because odds are we're going to go to Clemson next week, and and we'll talk about that as we go on. But that game doesn't look like as much of a blowout as it did at the start of the season. I still think Clemson right now is going to win the game, but who knows? We'll see how Clemson looks this week against Pitt. I'm a lot more optimistic right now. And we talked about a little bit about it last week. I'm a lot more optimistic at where we are now, both from how the team is playing. I'm optimistic that the defense finally woke up and played like a decent defense last week against North Carolina, against a good North Carolina team, a good North Carolina offense. And I'm also optimistic, like we said, because of looking at the opponents we have left, of the 6 opponents we have left, and how many of them are having their own issues. Miami can't seem to keep anyone healthy on their team. Florida's lost 2 of their last 3 games at this point. Clemson is not anywhere close to the same Clemson we've seen before. I think Boston College is starting to – I think they hit their plateau early. So that's where it's conceivable. That's where you can say, if you're saying Florida State has to win 4 of their last 6 games to be bowl eligible, it's possible.